What's up, what's up, what's up? On Help Me Out. Come on in, y'all. I missed you. Okay, relationships in Africa. Ooh, y'all. I know y'all been waiting on this one, okay? Because I couldn't wait to get to it with you. What are the men in Africa like? Ooh, what are the women in relationships like in Africa? Ooh, I got the goods for y'all. I got the goods. So, before we get started, hit share, like, click, subscribe. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers or more. And so, yeah, y'all, hit like, share, subscribe, and your love connection just might be in Africa. Your love connection just might be in Africa. I kid y'all not. So let's jump into this, baby. Whoo! So y'all know it was my first time going to Africa, right? And so, I was taking in the information. I was looking at everything, observing everything, analyzing things, asking questions. And I talked to men all the way from the hood to the president's cabinet, okay? From the hood to the politicians, baby. So I made sure I got a well-rounded view and understanding of these relationships. So now, what I can tell you is the men that I mostly spoke to were either in Nigeria or in Ghana for the most part. But I'm going to say it probably goes across the continent. Well, the black parts of the continent. I don't know what the Arab nations are like, but the black Africa. I don't even know how I want to start this with y'all. It's crazy. The men in Africa got love. They got straight love. Now, I'm from the United States of America, diaspora from America. So most of my experiences are with men from America. Okay? That's not to say I haven't dated, I've talked to, different, I ain't going to say different races. The most let me just go and say this. I only date black men. Okay? Now, I've dated men that's Puerto Rican and black, Vietnamese and black, but it got to be some color up in there. Got to be some black in there. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. Got to be some black in there. Okay? So, anyhow, the men in Africa got love. So let me first kind of break down what relationships are like in America, okay? Now, America, there's I used to say 5 women to 1 man, but right now, I believe it's 20 women to 1 man. Real talk. Real talk. 20 women to 1 man. Just say it's a lot of women to 1 man in America. And the men in America, they like to have their cake and eat it too, okay? Now, y'all can write if you disagree with me or not, but most Americans are going to agree with me. We have a very high divorce rate. We have a very high rate of shallowness. I'm going to say shallowness, okay? So, because there are so many women to 1 man, there's a lot of infidelity. There's a lot of games being played. There are a lot of double families. Some men might have triple families. But I know I've had men try to talk to me in America who have completely lied. They lied that they were married, didn't mention nothing about their family. And I hit up the store to go get a few things, and here you go walking by with a woman and some kids, and want me to stay back because they don't want to mess up, don't want to lie. I'm like, ooh, this fool. I've heard men, my ex-husband used to tell me he worked for the railroad, and he would tell me how, they leave pick up in Temple, Texas, and they leave out headed towards another state or wherever they going. And the co-worker left the family in Texas, and where the train ended up, he had a whole other family and a whole other. I said, well, dang. Ooh. So men here in America, they have their cake, they eat it too. They're not really big. It's because there's so many power structure games here in America. There's a lot of competition going on. And a lot of that is due to colonization. You know, where white men, colonizers, they took our black men, they imprisoned them, they beat them, they killed them, they did all the torture them, castrate them, they did all these things. But then they allowed the women, the black women, to rise. They allowed us to have semi-powerful positions. They allowed us to, while they kept our men depressed, suppressed, and out of our home, right? So there's this dynamic of competition. There's this dynamic of feminism, right? So a lot of American women, we have gotten to the point where we've had to do it so much ourselves that it's more like when a man comes to us now, it's like, well, what you bring to the table? Because we done drove the whole ship. We done ran the whole ship, right? So, you know, you may be women making more money than the man. So then there's this competition. If the woman doesn't know how to handle that. But I'm not going to go into detail on that, but just know, even that's one of the reasons I got divorced. I'm so, you know, talented and such a hustler. You know, it was competition. Not just that, but also because I was raised by a man. So I know how to work on cars. I know how to do body work. I know how to do, you know, a lot of different things. So things I'm naturally doing as a woman, he's over here feeling like I'm taking his spot. And so there's this competition going on. So the compliments aren't coming like they normally would when we start dating. The you know, things change. And then women, we're not so quick in America to give a man a compliment. A man could be dressed nice, he could be smelling good, but because there's that factor where he can have multiple women, it's a chance he's lying, you know, blase. I have to say, women in America may be guilty of not really complimenting the men, just because there's just too much going on. Just too much going on. Women in America, because we have carried so much weight with being the primary breadwinner, with being the primary parental figure, with being, you know, so many things, we become very strong. And you'll hear men in America say, well, women here think they don't need us. They don't respect us. You know, they think that they are the man. And you'll hear these kind of conversations in America. You will. But I can tell you my experience. So with American relationships, there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of betrayal. You know, if you look at our culture in America today, most of the men, because they sleep around, and you won't see white men doing it that way. Now, white men do cheat in a different kind of way, but they're normally respectful about it. Black men here are not respectful about it. And so you see, like on the videos, you'll see, you know, a lot of the women, we booty shaking, we twerking, we the Barbies, we the ones you want, we the ones you desire, you know, but you don't see the white women doing that, right? So it is you could say it's a culture thing, but it's really a colonizer thing, and how they brought us here, and how we even got to that point, and the roles they will allow us to play, in the industries that they will allow us to succeed in, and the images that we must portray to succeed, you know, all of those things. And then you look back at Africa, and they're trying to emulate America, what the colonizers did to us, through suppression, oppression, you know, systematic constructs. But anyhow, that's kind of a backdrop of the relationships in America. We got a lot of baby mamas, a lot of baby daddies. Most of the men are in prison, or they've been turned gay, or they've been killed. Okay, so that's the gist of that. So when I get to Africa, this is the gist of how things are in Africa with their relationships. There was not one single man I met that didn't say this. Not one. And this is the sad part. There was not one single man that I met that did not say this. The women don't compliment us here. The women here only want you. You can't have a woman. Only if you have a lot of money. That's the only way you get a woman. And they would say this to me. And I'd just be looking at them. And I said, well, if y'all don't have no money because the jobs ain't here, and the women don't want you, they only want the men with money, how are y'all having kids? How are y'all hooking up? Like, how does that work? And they would just literally get quiet and say, I don't know. Most of them are not having kids anymore. That's crazy. But the other part was, I was dumbfounded because the men are fine. They're fine. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them, it's a mixture of men in Africa. So you have those that might look and dress a little bit more like diaspora, more Americanish, maybe UK-ish a little bit more. Then you have those that are more country, what Africa would call country or call bush. They dress more cultural, ancestral. Some just dress casual, but they're hard working. So they're going to be dirty. They're going to be sweaty because they've been hustling out on the streets all day, walking and whatever. But that don't mean they ain't fine, because some of them is fine. And I was just dumbfounded that so much fine could just be sitting in Africa looking like that. And I'm looking at them walk around and I'm like, they don't even know they fine. I said, that's crazy. They fine and don't even know they fine. Doggone it. Anyhow, y'all. So, what African American men don't give and do, African men give and do. And I guess that's vice versa. Because the African man may not have all the money and resources and flash, but the American men have it. So it boils down to, do you want the authenticity and the love, or do you want the flash and the infidelity? Now, that's not saying that African men can't be, unfaithful. That's not what I'm saying. But your chances are a whole lot higher, because they're not having 20 women to one man, because the women don't want them. They don't want them. All they see is money, and that's all they want. Thus, I did see some beautiful black women, not a lot, maybe 2 or 3, walking around with an older white man that was old enough to be their granddaddy. And the black woman, she just walking smiling. Because in Africa, everybody knows if you got that white man, he probably finna break you off some money. But it made me feel uncomfortable that she's walking with him proudly because she thinks she finna get some money. And I thought, ain't no money worth that for me. I'm not racist, y'all. I'm not prejudiced. I'm just saying, ain't no money worth it that much for me to be with a colonizer that don't even fight for my rights or my people. I can't. And then I saw white women walking around looking like just giving it up. Okay? And I'm looking, so I start asking the men. Hear me? I start asking the men. And they tell me, quote, and it wasn't just 1 or 2 men that told me this. The white women come here to get screwed. I said, what now? They come to get screwed. They come from Mandingo. And one person told me about a particular white woman that was there a couple months ago. Said she was buck wild. She slept with about 15 African men within 1 month. She was trying to get it in. I said, oh, so they really be coming here for our men. Just to get that good jug. And then I met a man, a young man in his 20s, and he was saying that because the women in Africa don't want the men, and this young man I'm talking to, when I say fine, baby, almost hurt my feelings fine. I mean, body and all, snatched, like, damn. Looking like a football player, everything tight and nice. You hear me? When I say fine. And he said because the women don't want them, they usually have to leave and go somewhere else and get a woman. And just like the women leave and going and get a man. Now, I've seen a lot of the women go to Switzerland, to Europe, and then they get with these white men that claim they wanted them, and then the white men start abusing them, neglecting them, whipping their ass. And I've been seeing African women tell each other, stop marrying these white men. Stop. And I'm gonna verify for you. I'm gonna clarify for you. And I told this young black man, he's like, I want a white woman. And when my face turned red as this headband, y'all, I had to break it down to him. I literally broke it down to him. Now, all white people ain't like this, but a large majority, a big, large majority. I told him about my bodyguard that I had while I was in Ghana. I said, go talk to my bodyguard. He moved from Africa to Canada. Met a white girl who said, just like, what's his name? Shannon. Just like, what's his name? Shannon with the white girl, lost $1 million deal or whatever. The white girl talking to her daddy. The daddy didn't want no black man, no nigga up in his family. Told her to take her son and move on somewhere. That white girl ran off with his son. 19 years old. 19 years. That woman ran off with his son. So you know he looked black on the outside and all white on the inside. Okay? Another example. My brother married a white girl, had 2 little girl babies. Her daddy, the daddy, come in, don't want no niggas, problems seeing his kids, okay? And y'all done sat there and told me that they just be coming there for the good jug. The white men be coming there for some free good jug, real cheap. Stop messing with your colonizers. Quit having babies by your colonizers. Stick with your own. That's my advice to you. That would be like me marrying a white person. We could be madly in love. I'll never know what it's like to be white. You know why? Because over half of your white people ain't gonna accept me. The other half will accept me, but they don't know what it's like to be black. So they probably 9 times out of 10 gonna say some ignorant stuff, some offensive stuff. You have your baby gonna have problems in school, with your white family, your black family. I could never tell you what it feels like to be white. I can give you an idea, but they ain't gonna never fully accept me. There's gonna be some that try to set me up. There's gonna be some trying to get me out the picture. There's gonna be many that want to take my man because they think that my white man should not be with a black female anyway. Like, you signing up with for so many problems. And if it's not your spouse, it's gonna be their parents, or their uncle, or their cousin, they all ain't gonna accept you. And you can be one of those freedom fighters. Well, who cares? We're gonna stay in love and we're gonna make it last. Why would you marry your colonizer and make it last? Who you trying to prove something to? Why don't you stick with your people? Elevate your continent. Fight the oppression, depression, modern day slavery to free your people, the generations coming behind you, your nieces, your nephews, and make your life worth it. Make it valuable. Make it mean something. Make it mean movement, progression, Black history. You know, and your white spouse is gonna get it. He gonna hear it from every end, from the people at his job, from his family, from the people on the vacation who think they know just because they white and they all in the clique and they right. Like, why would you fight so hard to be with your colonizer or descendants of your colonizers? The blood is the same. The blood is the same. So I could never understand that. And a white person could never understand what it means to be Black. A white person could never understand what that means when your grandmama and your parents come and tell you the white man is the devil. They don't know what that means. All they see is slavery. They don't see the current day oppression. They don't see the redlining. They don't see the silence when they watch cops kill Black people and Black kids. They don't understand this. They just didn't go through it. You might find a rare few, but I would say like a Eminem. But anyhow, I'm just a firm believer in stick with your own. Just avoid all the drama. You know, but do what you want. You know you're going to do anyway. So anyhow, back to the men in Africa. So women in America and diaspora, we make pretty good money. We've had money. We have access to funding. We've learned a lot. We have skills. We have knowledge, resources, education. We have all these things that our African brothers and sisters did not get access to. They didn't want them building. We gonna build over here, but they can't build nothing. Y'all will never rise and run the world again. That's what they thought. And so, because of that, I've heard in the past relationships, divorces because of finances. Divorces over finances. Okay? And there's this issue, well, nobody wants a broke man. Nobody wants this, and that. But I feel like if you understand what Caucasian people, Portuguese, those who colonized us, if you understand what they did to our men. And for me, when I went to Africa, I went with an understanding of what they did to our men. Not just what they did to Africa, what they did to our men. So I automatically show up with love and compassion and empathy. So I always give a man his flowers while I can. And they were also shocked that I was so loving, that I was so accepting, that I was non-judgmental, that I wasn't looking down on them. They were so shocked, and I got so much love. So much love. And I was giving out compliments. Like, because in America, us women know when you compliment a man, it makes him do more. It makes them feel good. They want that compliment. They want that attention. And so that's not something the women do in Africa. And so I noticed when I'm giving these compliments, the love they gave back was a healing love. It was a healing love. The men in Africa, if they let a woman pay for anything, he's not a man. I said, well, I like that. If they let a woman pay for anything, he's not a man. And that doesn't mean you're dating them. It was some guys I met on Labadie Beach, and we kicked it. They liked my groove, my vibes, like, come hang with us. I'm like, all right. People walking by, and I fell in love with the pepper eggs, y'all. People walking by, I saw them pepper eggs. Boop, let me get that. Now I got my own money. I'm gonna pay for what I want. I spoil myself. I don't need you to buy my I don't need none of that. I want what I want, and I'm gonna get what I want when I want it. Them pepper eggs, and I put on my. They're like, no, you don't do that. And they pay for that. I'm like, wait, okay. Then I saw some ice cream. What? Let me get that. No. So I had to learn how to receive. Some women are good at receiving. I'm not good at receiving. Again, I was raised by a man, and my dad taught me to stand on my own, provide for myself, do my own. Don't ask nobody for nothing. Live your best life. So I have a really big problem with accepting things from people, especially men. Don't let that attract you. Don't start blowing up in my comments trying to holler at me, okay? Okay, but they were so giving. They were so giving. Everything I wanted, most of the stuff I wanted, I didn't even pay for it. And so opening doors, they opened every car door. They opened every door. I mean, it wasn't nothing I wanted that I didn't get. Even at the hotel I stayed at, it was two of the sons mostly ran it, but I would order food from the hotel sometimes. They didn't even charge me. They just brought me the food, didn't charge me for the food. I got a ride with one of them. I went to give a tip to the driver. He paid the tip. I didn't even have to tip. You see what I'm saying? So the amount of love and their view of women is different. They still have a view that has not been desensitized. It's not desensitized. It's still pure. They see women as women, mothers of earth. There's still women in Africa that I saw a woman, you walking around, she ain't got no bra on, no nothing. Titties just hanging. They just out. Men on the side of the street, they got these trenches on the side of the road. They just empty like ditches. Men just walk out and start pissing in the ditch, in the public, in front of their kids, in front of everybody. So they still have that natural, unashamed view or perception of man and woman in a human body. They don't look at it in a perverse way, a twisted, perverse way, like we do in America. Desensitized. Man on man, woman on woman, half man, half woman, all just discombobulated and just confused and messed up to the left, to the right, up there. They don't got all that. They kept it simple. They kept it honorable. They kept it family-centered. They kept it before the Lord. And they honor it that way. They honor it that way. And so the treatment that I receive when they call you a queen, they mean that. Because the treatment matches the words that come out of their mouth, which is not so here in America with our men. And so it caused me to have to let go of some things in my mind, in my thinking, being used to North America, the ways of North America. I had to let go of some things, and I had to pay more attention to the men and how they move, how they speak, how they treat. They fed me good. They wanted me to try everything. They were and all I could do was give them love, because they treated me in a way that I don't even get treated in America. And I'm a gorgeous, beautiful woman. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, men pay for things. I could be sitting at the bar. They're going to pay for my drinks. They're going to order me some food, But as far as the delicacy of the care, as far as the mentality of understanding that I am a woman, I'm a giver of life. I breastfeed with my boobs. They serve a purpose. I carry life, and I birthed it through my pain, through my struggle. I stand up and I take up arms when our men are not around and someone needs to defend the house or the land. Their view, I had to put on their view, which caused me to put on authenticity and caused me to bring more of my organic self forward. So it's a different kind of love. It's a patience. It's a patience, because here in America, everybody's run, go, hustle, got these bills to pay, got this vacation, got these kids, got to get this, got to pay that note, got to pay that note, got to pay that loan, got to pay that loan, and it's not that way in Africa. They work and hustle just as hard, but when they rest and they're present, they're present. They're present. And the attention they give is a detailed attention. They look at, it's almost like you think they're not looking, but they see everything. They see everything. So there was one particular, who was I with? I don't even know who I was with. I'm going to say my bodyguard. But where were we? I don't know if we were in Kumasi or we were somewhere. Maybe we weren't. I don't know where we were. Maybe we were in Cross somewhere. But we were somewhere and they had a bar. And I'm like, yeah, let's go get a drink. Well, you know, in America, it's no thing. You already know. If you walk up to the bar, it's going to be dang near. If all the guys don't take a peek at you and look at you, you know, you must be ugly or something. I don't know. But they going to look at you. But the American men, they don't get upset about it. They feel more proud that a man is looking at they piece, right? Or, you know, they don't trip as long as you don't say nothing disrespectful. Don't come up with, you know. It ain't that way in Africa. So he go to the bar. We talking. I'm just waiting for my drink. You know, This is how I knew my bodyguard had a crush on me. So I ordered my drink. Well, I ordered a drink. You know, it's just natural. You know, especially being from Las Vegas, and all we do is got bars and hotels. You know, you always look at your surroundings, see who's sitting around. You know, you check things out. You stay on your P's and Q's. Well, just out of habit, you know, I'm looking at somebody, but we didn't lock eyes or nothing. But the bodyguard thought he saw my eyes looking. And so instead of him turning to look, he jumped in front of me so I couldn't look no more. And so now I'm looking at him. And so now that he has my eyes on him, then he turns around to look to see who caught my eye. And there was a couple of guys there, but they weren't really looking at me because we weren't catching eyes like that. But that wasn't the first time that happened. And it was not just with him. Right? So I was kicking it with this other guy. And the same thing. It's like they be on watch for men, because when the women there in Africa don't want the men, or they treating them like they ain't nothing or whatever. Well, if they do get a woman, especially American woman or diaspora woman, they don't want nobody, because that woman was probably rare or difficult to get, right? So they be on they when I say chivalry, they don't want no man looking at you. They don't want them talking to you. And that's where I think that that I'm going to say a rumor, but that ideology that African men are very controlling. They're very dominant. I've heard that through the years about African men. But now that I've experienced that, I'm not going to say it's because they're dominant or controlling. I'm going to say they're protecting their investment. They're protecting their interest. And they will fight. They will fight for their woman. They will fight for their woman. Do you hear me? Oh, they have no problem speaking up. They have no problem speaking up, baby. None. Okay? So that's something different. Now, not to say that African American men won't speak up when disrespected, but they don't treat you like you're the prize. They don't treat you like you're truly the queen and I'm going to protect what's mine. They don't, they move different. They move different. But these African men, they don't miss a beat. They're not waiting 5.3 seconds. When they notice something, they address it quickly. Something else I noticed about African men, again, they address quickly. Most African American men, unless you have a very confident, intelligent, emotionally intelligent man, you won't experience this. But they usually, with African American men, if a woman has an issue she wants to discuss, he might not discuss it right then and there. Hear what you want to talk about, and then he gonna take a few days to go think. He might even take a week, and sometimes they don't even get back to you. They disappear. Okay, but that's what my experience has been and what I've watched with African American men. When hard issues come up, they're avoidant, or they need some days to think about it to come up with an answer for you. Again, unless you have a highly intelligent and emotionally intelligent man. If you have a highly emotional, intelligent man who knows himself, who's in tune with himself, he won't hesitate. He'll address it right then and there with you. He'll go all the way through with you the moment you mention it. But those are rare to come across. Not in Africa. Not in Africa, baby. Let me tell you, every time I had something to bring up to say, they answered it right then and there. And they sat there and talked. And even though we had like a small communication barrier from English to Twi or Shanti, Finti, whatever language we were speaking, they still took the time to listen and gain an understanding. And then they discussed it. They came and reached an answer and a solution. And then they moved forward. And I was like, I'm not used to that. I was like, I like that. I get my answer now? And you're going to get me straight now? Oh, yes. So African men do not run from conversations. I'm not going to say all African men, because mostly, again, what ones I dealt with were Ghanaian, Nigerian. But they don't run from no conversation. They're going to talk that thing through because it's important to them. Because they want to make sure that you're happy. They want to make sure that you're right. And the whole time, all they wanted to know was I happy? Are you happy? It's a say, are you happy? Are you happy? You good? I like seeing you smile. Your smile. I like your heart, you being happy. And if I said something, they didn't wait a few hours or days. They went and got it right then and there. I was stuck on sugarcane. I had like 2 or 3 guys and they knew I liked sugarcane. 2 of them was out looking for sugarcane for me. Nah, I'm not a player, y'all. I just, got my ways. I know how to move around. So that was like, you don't have to do that. No, I want to. You don't have to do that. No, I want to. They want me happy. I'm like, oh, I like this. So I'm sharing all of this with y'all to say, for those of y'all that are moving to Africa, there are going to be love connections made. There are going to be love connections made between diaspora and Africa. I promise you. I know this from what I experienced. I received healing by the men in Africa. And they probably don't even know it. I received a renewing, a refreshing. Even though they don't have the money that Americans have, but it wasn't even about the money. Everything, my whole trip was paid for. And they just added icing to the cake by feeding me, paying for the majority of all my stuff, opening doors for me, calling me queen, telling me they just want to see me happy. Now don't get me wrong. Some of them would love to marry a diaspora so they can have their citizenship in France or UK or America. Some of them were doing it, in a flirtatious way, and I get that. I ain't tripping. Some of them were doing it just because they really recognized and could see who I was, and they just wanted to honor me. It was, different reasons, But even with the jokes, the flirtatiousness, or the true authenticity of just showing me love because I'm a returning sister, the love was overwhelmingly beautiful. And there are some women in America, you'll see women take care of men in America. And you'll see the men let them do it. When things get tough, they'll move right in with a woman. She paying all the bills and bought the boy a car and right? But there are some women who don't really care about that. They want love. They want companionship. They want loyalty. They want faithfulness. They just want somebody who will hustle, do your best, love me, be with me, live life with me. And for those women that are that way, there is not a shadow of a doubt in my mind that if you moved to Africa, you would not find the man of your dreams. I promise you. Because there were so many different men. There were so many different men. So many. So many to choose from. So many to choose from who did not have a wife, who did not have kids, who they were talented. They had personality. And this is what gets me. I love it. And you see this all on African movies, Nigerian movies. You watch the movies, the men are the same. They funny. They joke. Like when a woman is upset or da-da-da-da, they joke about her problems. And they like, oh, baby, what do you want? Oh, I'll do anything for you. Oh, I will go to him and kidnap him and put him in a swimming pool full of Jell-O and make him eat it all. Just saying something. Like, they say these things to make you... I can't tell you how many times I found myself in a situation and it was irritating me. I was stressed out. And they would tell me, calm down. They would do this. Calm down. It'll be okay. It's going to be okay. And then they give me some African wisdom that's related to nature. They always relate something to how the seed comes up through the soil, and it takes time, and you must... They explain things in a way that is so pure, but yet loving and compassionate, and it touches your heart. And all of them are like that. They all have that component, and that's not what you get with African American men, I'm sorry. That's not what you get with African American men. So what I'm trying to depict to you guys is the contrast between the two, because they are very much different. African men have one side, African American men or diaspora men have the other part of the puzzle. If they ever came together, Lord Jesus. But there is not a doubt in my mind that you would not find the man that you want and that he will be loyal and faithful to you. and the love that African American women give, African men will literally fall in love with you, and they won't want to leave you, because we have a love when it comes to the compliments. I watched how they literally absorbed and drank the compliments coming out of my mouth, the love, the energy coming off of my presence. And I already had like 3 marriage proposals in Africa. Ain't that crazy? From slums to politicians, I'm trying to tell you. And but love connections, y'all. Love connections are coming to Africa between diaspora and Africans. Now, I don't know how it will go with African American or diaspora men and African women. I'm not quite sure how that part will go. But I definitely know with the diaspora women and the African men, it's going to be some love connections popping off in there. Do you hear me? Because those men love you in a way. They serve you. They serve you and love you. It's a different kind of love, I'm telling y'all. And the African American women, we have all the compliments. We have all the consideration. We know how to give gratitude for something that we've wanted for a very long time but couldn't obtain. I'm telling y'all now, love connections between diaspora and African men are coming. Your man may be in Africa. Okay. And so I'm going to tell y'all, I met this one particular fella. Yes, I did. And he's so fine. He's so fine. And I have to tell y'all know I've been divorced since probably filed in 2017. It was finalized in 2018. So I've been divorced since 2018. And I haven't been in no relationships really with nobody. Like I haven't had the desire to. I have not had the desire to. I have not thought about marriage. I have had multiple marriage proposals since I got divorced. And I don't want it. I'm enjoying my life being single. Like my little cousin Nina say, I'm single and ready to mingle. But I'm not really mingle. I'm a loner, y'all. I'll be staying in my studying, doing my content in my word, writing my music, doing my videos, right? I don't have time. I don't. And the only reason I had time in Ghana, in Africa, was because I knew I was meeting with African leaders. I knew I needed to understand the people and the culture. And I had to listen. I had to be patient. I had to pay attention. I had to observe. So I was in a sense working. But the love and the respect, the admiration, it caused me to pause, and I had to look, and I had to take that in. And, out of all the men, and this is why I say there's not a shadow of a doubt in my mind that you won't meet the one for you in Africa, because it was so many men that I had conversations with, that I hung out with, and they all had something lovely about them. All of them had something I liked. Whether it was, I like the way you open your wallet for me every time. Oh yeah, baby. Whether it was, I like the way you always open the door and you always hold my hand and make sure I'm good. Or whether it was, their jokes, or it was always something. I was like, dang. But it was like, it wasn't even feeling like you were settling. It didn't even feel like you had to settle. it felt more like, let me just choose. Because it don't matter where you get your spouse from, whether it's in US or another country or wherever, everybody's gonna have their problems. Everybody's gonna have your pros and cons. Ain't nobody perfect. It's really pick your poison. Pick your luggage, pick your baggage. Which set of baggage can you handle, do you want to deal with, that you can spend a lifetime with this person? It's really just pick what you want. And I was just like, this is crazy. If you heard my little video, my short, I got my bodyguard, my chef, got my driver sitting waiting to the left, got a mansion in the hills, all I gotta wear is heels, ain't thinking about nobody else. Baby, I had all that. All that. I told you, marriage proposals, I ain't got to do nothing. All I got to do is wear heels around here. I get all this. It was literally pick what you want. And I met one particular fella. And yeah, he got my attention for real. He got my attention. And it almost makes me nervous because I wasn't going thinking about no relationship or marriage, definitely not marriage. And at the same time, I'm like, I didn't expect to meet somebody either that fits so many pieces of me. That I was not expecting. And so it forced me to look. And I was like, but I don't want to look. I don't want to look. But I'm like, but dang. Hi, Candy. I can look at you every damn day. So I'm telling y'all ladies, that's all I can say. It's going to be some love connections happening in Africa between the African men and the diaspora women. And I hate to say it, but them African women gonna be mad and jealous. Because what they didn't want, what they didn't see no value in, a diaspora woman came through and swooped that up real quick. And got a good man. a good man living a good life. Okay, so just know that when you get there, though, either come with a business plan, come with money, because again, they don't make a lot of money. Their dollar currency isn't even at the same exchange rate as the US dollar, or probably the francs or other money too. So, if some of you are okay with a man who's a wonderful man, who's a hustler, who can make money, but he just don't have access to USA or France or Germany or wherever. But if he had the opportunity and the right resources, he would take off and do that thing. You'll be all right. And now don't get me wrong, there are other men there too. Like I said, I had a whole politician, there's politicians there looking to get married. There's, middle class. There's business owners, all kind of stuff. I kicked it. I hung out with fashion designers, politicians. I hung out with the Dirty December crew who organized and put Dirty on in Ghana. I met so many people, y'all. I hung out with so many people. My music artist. I recorded some music while I was there in Ghana, working on a music video in Africa. So I met an array of people. I heard so many people's testimonies, experiences, so much. So I am truly giving you a well-rounded view of the relationships in Africa, and how the men feel, how they look at the women, how the women feel, how the women looking at the men. I'm telling you, them African women, if you seeing this, y'all are gonna be sad when the Exodus come and all them diaspora women come, because they gonna be snatching the men up left and right. So women, when you get to Africa, it's the reverse. Instead of like 5 or 6 women to one man like it is in America, it's actually 5 or 6 men to one woman. So when I say you can have your pick, ooh, I don't even think it would take you 2 or 3 months. I don't even think it would take 2 to 3 months to come across that perfect one for you. And that's real talk. That's real talk. What else can I tell y'all about the relationships there? I think that's pretty much it. If y'all have any questions, please type your questions in. I will answer them for you. Now, they do have a lot of scamming and manipulation, stuff like that in Africa. But for the most part, I didn't really they were blunt about it. It was a lot of, like I said, tips. They want tips. And they be trying to demand tips. Tip. Like, I paid for the service. I don't owe you a tip. I can tip you if I want to. I don't have to. It's not required. It's just good manners. Well, okay, good manners, but maybe I don't have it. You getting mad? You got an attitude because you didn't get your tip because I don't have it and you want to demand it? Y'all need to get off the gas with that. You embarrassing yourself. You embarrassing us as diaspora because it's a poverty mindset and it acts like you acting like you begging. Like beggy. Like, that's a whole nother subject. But yeah, there's good, bad, and ugly with all races, continents, men, and people. So always be smart, always be aware, always stay safe, always do your homework, don't go nowhere alone, make sure people know where you're going, who you're going with, all that kind of stuff. But because it was the people I was hanging with, I'm not worried about politicians doing something to me, or fashion designers doing. Now, I might question in the music studio with other music artists, because that's been a real big thing in America with how they've been acting. But for the most part, everything was cool, copacetic, everything was straight. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the love. I gave them so much love. I had one man say, no, I had quite a few men tell me they did not feel loved. That broke my heart. The Rastas told me, most people don't like us because they think we're no good because we just smoke and get high and we don't do this and we don't do that. I told them, hell yeah, I love y'all. I love y'all. I love your style, your vibe, your music, your food, your culture. And Snoop Dogg love you. Wilson Nelson love you. Nelson, why am I going backwards? We love your music. We love your clothes. I don't care what nobody tell you that people in Africa might act like they don't love Rastas. That don't mean the world don't love Rastas. We love you, Rastas. Okay? We do. Another man, the tasty one. I call him Tasty, y'all. He's so cute. And but I gave him some compliments, and he starts looking at his skin, and he said, "No one ever told me I had nice skin. No one ever. Women, they don't compliment you like that. Nobody gives you compliments here." And he says, "I thought I was just black. I'm too dark." My eyes got big. My mouth fell open like, don't you ever say that. I'm like, and I had to tell him, if you were in North America, you would probably have 50 women trying to get you. Because you built like a football player. Your type of skin color is it's a chocolate. It's like a smooth chocolate. And his smile He got that smile, one of them smiles that just make you melt. Like his whole package together. I was like, well, I'm embarrassed that nobody ever even said that to you. Like, it's a lot of fine men in Ghana, and they fine as hell. Fine as hell. I said, this is where America be finding these fine Africans from. They come down here and make a star out of them and put them on TV. Fine as hell. I said, okay, this is where they coming to get y'all. But he fell in love with the compliments. And he was just like, nobody ever said that. No one, thanks for telling me that. Like, and I thought, what must be like to be a man in Africa and no one has ever said nothing good about you? Y'all don't celebrate, they don't even celebrate their birthday. They literally don't celebrate their birthday. They don't take each other out to eat. They don't tell each other, buy them a gift. They do nothing for each other on their birthday. And I had to explain to him that's not right. And I asked him, was that a colonizer thing? Because the moment you were conceived and birthed into this earth, that was God's approval for you. And he gave you an assignment. You came out with the breath of God's air in your body. And you don't celebrate that. And y'all don't celebrate each other. If nobody celebrates you, then who celebrates you? Nobody. I said, there got to be some colonizing if I ever heard it. I said, you should celebrate the day you were birthed and seen and recognized on this earth. All of y'all. So for all y'all Africans that don't celebrate, I'm telling you now, happy birthday. Whether it's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Happy birthday. We're so glad that you're here. And celebrate your birthday. Celebrate the day you were born. Celebrate the day God approved your arrival. Celebrate that. Celebrate your children the day they made it here. And you don't have to have money to celebrate. Eat a nice meal. Crack a few jokes. Share your story with somebody. Celebrate your birthday. Your black melanin is beautiful. And for some of y'all, it's downright sexy. I'm just saying. Okay. So, yeah, they're not used to that. So African American diaspora women, if you go there giving love and support and encouragement, that's all it takes to win you a good man in Africa. That's all it takes. And he'll spoil you with everything he got. He'll spoil you with everything you got. He'll tell you every day that you're beautiful. He'll tell you every day how pretty you are. Don't let the men pass y'all by. So, if you have questions, please type them in and I will answer them. Please click like, share, subscribe. And I want to say this too. I'm not knocking my African American men. I love you. I have kids with y'all. Okay. Ain't nothing like my black brothers in North America. And we've had our own struggles with relationships, with separation, with interference from white people. We've had our own struggles. And hopefully when y'all get to Africa, you will have love connections with the women of Africa as well. But as far as us African American women, I don't even have to question it. We're going to have love connections when we have this next mass exodus and hit Africa. It's going to be babies popping up. It's going to be marriages happening. I'm telling y'all now. So I hope this was a good content video for you guys. And go to my website, futuremepro.com, if you want to sign up for coaching services, personal development, decolonization. I did locate my property, so I have not forgotten you guys. I have videos coming out still with how I purchased my property. I'm still going through everything to complete my purchase, but it's coming. It is coming, so I am going to share all of that with you guys. My builders, how I'm doing everything. So I haven't forgotten. I'm still finishing up some stuff, and it will be coming. Okay. But other than that, if you want coaching services, relocating to Africa, the process, different things like that, feel free. I'll show y'all my Ghana card. I have my Ghana ID card because your girl is on her way to citizenship. Okay. So yeah, that's what I have to say to y'all about that. So thank you for joining me here on Help Me Out. And until the next time, deuces. Africa, one love.